Some of it does appear to be transient or idiosyncratic. Inflation has persisted longer than we thought. You need a bit of a reset.
Welcome back to Real Estate Mindset. Today's video is gonna be absolutely bonkers. I have with us today on our channel my man, OrlandoMiner. How are you, Orlando?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great.
Awesome. So you guys, Orlando's here today essentially to talk about help us understand the China economic collapse and how that is going to impact the U.S. housing market. But remember, you guys, before we continue, like this video, subscribe if you haven't, and then if you can, go over to Orlando's channel right here and subscribe. Not only does, and let me tell you guys why I like Orlando. Not only is he entertaining, he's got a light heart. He's got great value. He doesn't just report on the news like I do. He also has a lot of like real estate investing and all kinds of stuff like that I would really strongly suggest you guys go over, start watching that, especially if you're on the sidelines. This is a great time to empower. Orlando, before we begin, can you tell us a little bit about who you are?
Yeah, no problem. So for the last 20 years, I've been financing commercial real estate, SBA loans, investment properties. And then within that 20 years, probably about 14 years, I've actually been investing for my own portfolio, a lot of multifamily. So I've been an investor for that long. And on top of that, I'm a veteran, have my degree in accounting. So yeah, that's about me.
So you're a numbers person like me.
Very, very numbers generated.
So
I love the numbers.
Let me ask you this question then, okay?
Yeah.
And I know I may ruffle some feathers here. What job is harder? Being a realtor or being a loan officer? What's harder?
I would say being a realtor.
Really?
Listen. This is the reason why. Because with a realtor, there's a lot of that like personal connection, a lot of emotions you have to deal with. True. You have to wear a lot of hats being a realtor, right?
True.
Now, with me just doing the numbers in the back, to me, being a numbers person, it's a lot easier. It's just black and white. Are you approved or you're not approved? Do you meet this criteria? Do you not meet this criteria? It's super easy to knock all of that away. There's no emotion involved. There's really none of that. So to me, the type of person I am, that the realtor portion would be a lot heavier because you have to wear a lot more hats, in my opinion.
Or maybe you're just a genius and you're trying to be humble. I'm going to tell you why, okay? Buyer's rep agreement. Buyer's rep agreement, I'm dropping the pen.
Oh!
Okay. When we're lenders, we can be shopped and dropped at the very end of the transaction. At least the realtors have the advantage of being bound to their client, right? Like lenders,
that is true.
Kick the curb. Hey man,
that's true.
So, and
I didn't think of that. I did not think of that one. So I mean that you're right about that. You're right.
Right. I mean, both jobs are hard. Both jobs you got to have, in my opinion, you got to have the empathy. You got to be able to relate with people.
Of course.
But regardless, Orlando, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up about 4 different articles. I'm going to get your opinion on it. Overall, we kind of just want to know how, China's obviously all messed up right now. Okay.
Yeah. Going down.
I kind of want to get your opinion as a content creator, but also as an investor, someone that understands what's going on, basically how that's going to affect us. And I want to start somewhere that's a little bit weird. I'm kind of, sorry, but this is very interesting. This came out, this is from the U.S. Census Bureau, and I've actually talked to a lot of content creators about this, and you should team up with some in our niche. They're really good guys. But this is showing that currently the vacant houses that we have in our nation is at 15.2 million, okay, of which year-round, so we have houses year-round, 11.6 million year-round houses vacant and empty. Right. Do you think, and can you tell us if you know or how we can find out, does China own a lot of this? Is there foreign investment here? Can you give us your thoughts on that?
Well, I can't say specifically on this number, right? But this is what I can say is that on the investment side, so I do a lot of lending and we do a lot of foreign lending and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to see a lot of like China money coming in, Chinese money coming in, and they're buying these, big portfolios of these single family homes. It's no
Yeah.
different than when you see these news articles saying BlackRock and
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
these other big companies, Zillow, Open Door, are going in buying these tranches of homes. The same thing is happening with big families in China, where they're coming in and they're buying 100, 200 blocks of single family homes and purchasing them and fixing them up and then renting them back out. They're doing this the same reason why the other companies are doing it is to fight inflation. And they have another reason why they're doing it is because over in China, their money they feel is deteriorating. And
Yeah.
if you don't know, the Chinese love real estate. They
Right.
love it. They love it. So they're coming over here, doing the same thing, taking advantage of those opportunities. And the U.S. government is just the U.S. is just open to any foreigner coming in and purchasing it. It's not like that in other countries though, but U.S. is definitely like that.
No. Do you think that our government should make laws preventing that type of investment from foreign investors?
I in some instances I do feel that way because you don't if if you buy a bunch of if you're a foreigner and you're buying a bunch of properties, right, then you're taking that away from someone who can legitimately buy it that is a citizen. I do feel that way, but then also too on the opposite end of that, we are a capitalist nation, and if that's
Yeah.
what we're about, then how can we say we can stop others from trying to make a buck in the U.S. too? So I feel both sides of it. I really do.
So in that, I want to throw this by you, man, because I thought about that. Looking, man, I'm like overwhelming myself in data, right? I want to share my opinion because I have a strong one. My opinion is strong, but I
Okay.
also want to show people the data. And to me, what happened is I'm trying to figure out what's worse, investor greed or lack of preparation, right? Like, because can we really? And I have to be very careful how I'm saying this. Some investing is, in my eyes, predatory buying.
Okay.
It's too much. It's just in my eyes. It's too much. It's in specifically what I've seen is people go after specifically low income housing, brand new housing that's traditionally designed for first time home buyers, right?
Right.
So I get all of that, but I'm wondering what the worst problem is: people's horrible spending habits, or the investor greed. The investors are outworking us. So what's worse?
Yeah. Yeah, here's the thing. I obviously I'm an investor, so more than likely I'll be biased for the investors.
I know.
But I do understand in some instances where someone goes in and buys a bunch of properties, and that would have normally been a first time home buyer's property that they could have bought. But on the opposite end of that too, the question is the investor improving the property, which makes which makes that area better to bring, multiple investors coming in and improving the area to make that area better? Are they slumlords and, just buying properties and taking advantage of low incomes and Section 8 and all that other stuff? I'm not that type of investor, but I'm totally against someone going into a neighborhood and just leeching off of the community, right? I'm definitely against that. I'm for an investor going in and improving properties and keeping the property nice, property values high, and bringing more businesses into that area. I am 100% up for that.
Do you think China's doing that?
No. I think China just wants to make the dollar, and why would they care about how the living situation of U.S. citizens? Why would they care? I mean, it just doesn't make sense.
I mean, me and you care. I mean, I tell people too. I have one rental and I have one note on a property. I tell my renter all the time, like, you're paying my mortgage. Hello, like, I'm a loan officer. I'm a realtor. Let me know when you're ready to step up. I tell my own renter that.
Right.
I know down payment assistance programs, grants, bonds. Like, why the hell do you live here? I'm telling my own renter that, man. I mean, I feel
They're like,
guilty
what's
a
up
little
with
bit.
this guy? Does he not want my rent?
I mean,
can stay here forever.
I mean, I need the cash flow. It's very helpful, but like, I mean, I want to help people over, you know what I mean, making profits. So I'm always trying to empower. But take a look at this. I'm going to pull this up. Orlando, great answers, my friend. So this is obviously about Evergrande. Chinese property developers' cash flows have plunged more than 20%. Obviously, Evergrande is being hurt significantly. It's one of the biggest debt holders in the world.
Right.
Can you touch in on Evergrande and how that lender kind of collapsing would potentially affect us, and maybe a little bit about
Yeah,
what's going on?
I think the more direct reason is obviously all of the money that China has put into here and in debt that they've bought from us. If they go down in that fashion, not being able to pay their own bills, if the economy collapses because the consumers no longer want to pay mortgages and XYZ and all that other stuff, then yeah, it will affect us because this is the thing. This isn't 50, 40, 60, 100 years ago where we were on an island by ourselves. This is a global economy now.
Yeah.
Everybody is holding hands. Everybody trades. Everybody exchanges money back and forth. We send wheat here. They send this here. We're in a global economy.
Yeah.
And so if something happens, no matter how small the country is, it's going to have an effect. When Greece had their situation, it affected us. When, the Ukraine situation, it's affecting us. So if China, the number 2 power, number 2, we're number 1, they're number 2. You 100% can guarantee that if they collapse, and they have a 2008 collapse, that 100% it will affect us. 100%. I'm telling you.
And what effects do you think that will have on us, Orlando? Do you think they'll sell real estate or buy more real estate to save themselves?
I can see that. I can see that. But where I think it's really going to hurt is I think that the materials and stuff that we're trying to ship and bring over, all of that stuff is going to get more and more and more expensive, right? And then it's going to be more expensive to build homes. I think all of the materials, stuff that's just in, I don't know, Walmart, Target, all of that stuff is going to go up. The cost of goods is going to skyrocket because they have to, right? I mean, that's exactly what's going to happen. But here's the thing. When we go into a recession or not go into a recession, whatever the government is saying that we're at right now, but when we go into that scenario, then I believe that it's just going to be so hard for the regular U.S. consumer to afford those things, which is going to make a slowdown in obviously GDP and everything else. And we're just going to end up with, people holding their money in their savings account, not going to buy things. And we all know how our country survives. People spending. That's what the last stimulus check was about. And all that, the bills that they passed during the pandemic, so the same thing is going to happen. People are just going to hold their money, saving it, not spending, brings the economy down to a slowing stop almost.
Now, can you see this type of collapse, something that would lead China into a war with Taiwan?
I don't know, man. I really think this is the truth when it comes to the Taiwan thing. I really think that the government, Chinese government, looked at Russia and said, "I'm not sure we want to do that."
Yeah, man.
I'm not sure if we want the whole world against us. I don't know if we want to unite people that were opposing countries that were against each other, but now unite them. And now they're going to use all of their power to bring us down or hurt us to a point of bringing our economy down even worse. And now that we now see that China's economy is going down, do you think that they want more constraints or levies or whatever on top of that? Nah, they don't want any of that. So I think they're playing a little game of chicken, but they're not going to really, in my opinion, I don't think they're really going to do anything. If they were going to do anything, they would have done it when they were super strong and their economy wasn't on the brink that it is right now.
Great answer. All right, I'm going to pull up this next article, Orlando. Let me pull this up real quick. Now, this one is on okay, so this is going on in China right now. This blows my mind, but there's a China mortgage strike. So can you talk
Ooh.
on the strike? Apparently, people are no longer paying their mortgage. They're striking. In America, they just foreclose on us. So I'm not sure what, can you talk onto that a little bit?
Yeah, yeah. So what basically happened here is that the you had a bunch of it's basically like a Ponzi scheme, right? So you basically have these big huge companies like Evergrande, these big huge developers going out and saying, hey, look, we're gonna build these brand new
Yeah.
places, brand new condos, these homes for you, and all this other stuff, but they take pre-sales for them. They take
Oh, okay,
pre-sales. So individuals would go ahead and give them the money, take out a mortgage to get this home built. Well, the developer would then use the pre-sale money to go to another property to do the same exact thing, build up a site, and then say, hey, look, we need to take pre-sales for this. And they would do this from different spot to different spot to different spot. What would end up happening at the end is they would never complete the project.
Yeah, right.
They would never complete it. So when they didn't complete it as a consumer, I'm sitting here waiting on my house to get done. Just imagine, guys, you're trying to get your house done and the developer is only 50% and it's been that way for 3-4 years. And you're calling everybody and you're saying, hey, can you please finish my house? And they're saying, yeah, we'll get to it. And they never get to it. So the consumers, the borrowers decided, you know what? I'm not taking this anymore. I'm gonna stop paying my mortgage. And they stopped paying their mortgage.
So let me wrap my mind around this. Thank God that we're in America. Anyone that complains, come on. The politics are horrible.
Right.
I think we can all admit that. I don't ever like to talk about that. Because where's the love, man? If you're going to be talk politics, throw the love out of the conversation. But they're buying imaginary houses,
right?
And they have a mortgage on an imaginary house. So the lender's lending on air. There's no collateral.
No collateral, but the half-built home.
Unbelievable. Well, now I wonder why they're on strike. They're like, I've been paying my mortgage for 5 years and I'm still living in the same apartment. Like, that doesn't make sense. And then you got these people messing up, making the wrong investments. That's gonna hurt. I think that's gonna really be devastating for China.
Yeah, because what ends up happening, obviously we know, is that people are deciding to quit paying their mortgage because there's no home. The product of the home isn't there. Right. So in the Chinese government is saying to themselves, yeah, we get it. Maybe we can give you guys some reprieve and maybe they can't come after you. The builders can't come after you, but they're not doing what would probably happen in the US would be like, we're going to forgive that mortgage because you never got the home. Right.
Or just
they're not doing that. No, what they're doing, what the government, Chinese government is doing is saying, how about we just cut interest rates for you? Make it cheaper.
Right here. That was the next slide. I don't know if you can see behind the screen here, but you're pretty good, man. That was the next slide. Yeah. So this came out today from when we're filming this. China slashes mortgage rates to tackle deepening property crisis. So they're essentially saying, instead of forgiving it because there's no property, we're just going to lower your payment on your imaginary house.
Yes, exactly. Isn't that crazy?
That's so sad, man.
Hey, we know, but see, that's not the gripe. The gripe isn't the payment, right? The gripe is, I don't have a house.
Right.
That's the gripe.
Yeah. Where's my house?
Yeah.
So let me put, and when we go, if you can, I want to ask you 2 questions, what you can advise for some home buyers to do right now.
No problem.
And then investors. But can you, if Evergrande, I don't know in China what it's called, bankrupt, whatever, if they go under, and they're, what is the worst impact you can see China having on our housing market? Do you see that from an aspect of an inventory dump? Do you see that from an aspect of no changes, or they rush to our market to fight the drop of their value of currency? What do you see as the worst case scenario?
Yeah, I think the worst case scenario would be like an inventory dump. That's what I would go with. The reason why it's so hard to kind of pinpoint exactly what what you could really look for is because
Yeah.
this is uncharted territory, right? This is uncharted territory where you have the Chinese government, or the number 2 power, that went up from, I don't know where they were before, maybe 3, 4, 5 power wise, but
Yeah.
a lot of the lower income just shot up with a lot of wealth from lower income to the middle class. And that's a lot of people. You got to remember, probably, I don't know, millions and hundreds upon hundreds of millions of people shot up to that middle class. So I would think that the inventory dump would be a really big thing, only because I could see a lot of companies trying to liquidate and trying to get as much money in their pocket. Now, I don't know if this will work or not, but I could see them liquidating and keeping the funds over here and not moving them back over to China, and keeping them in the accounts in the US versus bringing it back there and it being like worth nothing, because of the economy dropping. So I think inventory, but I just want to be clear that, I mean, this is uncharted territory, and anything could really happen, man. I'm definitely keeping my eye on it.
And that's why I'm glad I'm talking to you. And I actually had another YouTuber I talked to yesterday. I won't give any names, but the whole situation.
Yeah.
He's a hardcore investor, a little rough around the edges. And, but the thing is like, the reason I want to talk to just more and more people that are capable of talking, right? Because YouTube is hard and being on camera. We don't know what's going on, man. So the more that we learn, like, we're all in this together, whether you invest or you're on the sidelines, we're all in this together, and none of us know what's going on. So the way I feel is like the more input, like, but we got to show respect, right? As long as the respect is there, we got to get more and more input. We got to figure this out, because there's so many different angles that we're not considering. Because I mean, the data's tainted. I mean, the data would normally be easy to understand if there wasn't trillions of dollars that were just printed.
Right.
So it's kind of like a smoke screen. This is new. And that's why I think that we have so much division. There's so much derogatory. Like, I hear like a doom and gloomers. And then I heard a new one the other day on the other side of the track. Non-crashers, you non-crashers. I was like, guys, chill out, right? It was on the comments.
Non-crashers.
I know. Well, non-crashers, like, y'all, like, it's not about someone else. It's about you, right? So, very interesting, man. I really appreciate you coming on. I appreciate your time.
Man, no problem.
We're about 21 minutes in. 2 more questions, if I can, Orlando.
Okay.
First question is a lot of my viewers, and I think a lot of your viewers as well, they're first-time home buyers. As you know, first-time home buyers, generally, it's a harder time for them emotionally. It's a harder time for them to basically be more logical. There's a lack of tools in their tool chest. Right. And I mean, and I'm not disrespectful when I'm saying emotionally. Like, in order to be sometimes emotionally stronger, you have to go through it first. Right. And that's what I'm about. So can you speak to them and tell them, in your opinion, Orlando, what they should be doing right now as far as purchasing?
Yeah, I think, like I said, even on both of our channels, both of our audiences, I try to let people know the number one thing that you have to do is you have to stay informed on what's happening in your local market. 100%. We talk about, we're talking about the national aspect, and I see people in my comment section all the time. Well, this is not happening in California. This is not happening in Dallas, and I want to convey this message so well. You have to look in your local market. You may not see price cuts in LA, but you might see price cuts in Miami. You might see price cuts in New York. You have to stay so focused on the local market that you're trying to buy in. You should be looking at Zillow, Redfin, or wherever you go to look at your stuff, and look at those markets every day. Houses will not just automatically, magically pop up, up on your screen and tell you need to buy this house. This is the house that you're going to live in. You have to put forth the work and effort. And staying informed and looking every day for your home is so important.
It's amazing, Orlando. It doesn't matter who you are. You're an investor. So when I ask that question, you're being an investor, non-investor, realtor, whoever. But the answer is almost unanimous. If you're a first-time home buyer, you got to put in work.
You have to put in work.
Because if you don't, you can't rely on your realtor to do that for you. You should be able to. You should. Because they make so much money as if they were, but You can't put your your destiny in someone else's hands. Now, same question, but for maybe someone that is more experienced, that's an investor. Any advice for
Hmm.
them? Affordability index? I mean, any advice for them?
Yeah, I would say for an investor, here's the thing for investors. It's still the same thing. You have to obviously look in your local market, but I would expect someone who's an investor probably knows that already. So what I would say for an investor would be, obviously the most important thing is you have to know what your goal is when you're looking at investment. Are you looking for cash flow? Are you looking for appreciation? Are you looking for both of those, right? If you have to figure out what your goal is and then go after that, right? Too many times do I see someone just say, I want an investment property. And you just say, okay, you want an investment property, but what is your goal? Well, I just want to make money. Well, what type of money do you want to make? Monthly money, money every month? Money when you sell it? What do you want to make? So you have to be very, very, very clear what type of investment strategy you're trying to go with. So that's what I would say.
Amazing, man. Dude, amazing answers as always. Orlando, again,
Thank
man,
you.
we got to do this more often. Mad love to.
100%.
Keep
Hey,
keep
man,
doing.
I really appreciate you bringing me on your channel. I really do, man.
Well, okay. So before I do my outro, man, I mean, do you have anything you want to say before I go?
No, man. I just want to say I really appreciate you bringing me on the channel. When people come to my channel, they're gonna get an entertaining way of bringing this housing news, what's going on with the housing market, also with how to get into your first rental property. So if that's something that interests you, I would love to have you come over to my channel.
Yeah, and you guys give him a look and try. And I forgot to tell them, Orlando, but I told Orlando this, but when I was dying from COVID, right, for 3 months, I got double COVID pneumonia. All I was doing was watching YouTube videos, and I'm like, how do I want my setup to be? You were the YouTuber that I watched three a lot. You, Jeb, and Smallhorn, because
Oh yeah,
you guys had like the best production setup. I absolutely love your setup.
man. Thank you, man. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, and you're
man. Do you know how much time I put into this, man? I was like, man, where do I need to put this? That?
Yeah, I love it. It's so fun. And I told someone that was on my channel the other day, he's a little bit behind us on the technical stuff, but he's a smart investor. I'm like, dude,
Right.
you got to step up your production. I mean, just act like you're trying. You know what I mean? Like, light a candle in the background, put a sign or something. Like, do something, man, for the love of God. But Orlando, I really appreciate you, man. Sit tight with me. I'm gonna have you back on the channel here soon, and keep doing what you're doing, man. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too, man. See you later. Thanks.
Yeah. All right, guys. Now, show him some love. Obviously, you guys know already. If you're out there investing in real estate, I do wish you luck, and I hope you win.